Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. Great article here from investing.com. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So I know yesterday we discussed the surprise that T-Mobile is growing in the top 100 markets, which should be no surprise to anyone, as I mentioned. But now I wanted to get into more of what was discussed at the Morgan Stanley conference and the strategic growth insight. So we got some key points, so key takeaways that I'll touch on here in this video. So T-Mobile experienced unprecedented growth in 2024 with record customer additions. The company raised its 2025 service revenue growth forecast from 4 to 5%. Strategic focus includes expanding into small markets, rural areas, and business sectors. T-Mobile is advancing its fixed wireless and fiber strategies through partnerships. The company aims to enhance advertising revenue through recent acquisitions. You guys saw that in the article in yesterday's video, the Bliss acquisition and then the VistaStar or Media, whatever the name of the company is. They closed on those, and they probably might, depending on how good of a deal they can get, they probably might buy some more additional ad companies that will further enhance the advertising revenue. It's a big business for the company. It's really a big business for them. And the reason it's different is because, if I remember correctly, Verizon and AT&T sold their ad divisions, and T-Mobile is doubling down on their ad division, so to speak. So some of the interesting points there, right? T-Mobile advancing its fixed wireless and fiber strategy through partnerships. It was discussed during the conference, and Peter Oswaldig was asked, are these partnerships necessarily the right approach, or should you maybe be owning and operating, right? That's kind of what they were hinting towards. And he said no. He said the partners wanted to be a part of the deal, and what he pretty much said is that's their expertise, right? Metronet and Lumos running the fiber, building the fiber, that's their expertise. And he's right. He is 100% telling the truth. It's definitely not T-Mobile's expertise running and owning and operating fiber. That's Lumos and Metronet. That's their expertise. So he's telling the truth. So I got to give him that, right? He's not lying. He's 100% telling the truth that they need those partnerships, right? They really needed them. So they had to make the deal attractive for Lumos and Metronet. Trust. They had to, because they needed them in this deal. There was no way that we could have seen T-Mobile own and operate they could have bought the entire company. Don't get me wrong. They could have done it. But then, right, they would have had to create another section in the company. They probably would have had to retain the employees that were with Metronet and Lumos anyway. And then they would have had to spend money contracting, building. So these partnerships are attractive to T-Mobile because that's not their expertise. They are a pure wireless play that has partnerships with fiber. So at least he's telling the truth. He's not making some stuff up or deflecting. He's telling the truth. And then fixed wireless, I mean, we know that's for T-Mobile, that's a huge story, right? It's the fallow capacity. They still do that to this day. He was asked if that's necessarily the right approach as they continue to grow that business. And he said, yes, that's the right approach for the company today. Could it change? It's possible. He didn't really disclose that much, but it could change, just like anything can change in business. But the fallow capacity model is really working for T-Mobile. So they are still very disciplined on their capital approach, the 9 to 10 billion that you guys have been hearing about. And they've managed within that spend to add, or that they will add, the additional, 6 million customers to get to the total goal of 12. And that could potentially expand depending on what they come up with millimeter wave, additional spectrum in the pipeline. And then, like they said, 5G advanced technologies could allow them potentially to add more customers onto a sector that they previously couldn't. So strategic. So here's another thing that I wanted to throw in as well with the change that they announced this morning to Carrier Freedom. The growth is not going to be as easy as it once was. So T-Mobile will have to fight back now. And AT&T and Verizon will respond to T-Mobile now. I can see it clear as day. I know that's not a fact right now, but you can see that if T-Mobile were to do, I don't know, $1,200 to buy you out of your device and then give you another $1,000 for trade-in, right? I'm just throwing out numbers. Verizon and AT&T will now, the way that it's going, they will respond to that, and vice versa. If Verizon and AT&T go higher, as what we've seen recently, T-Mobile will respond to that, and they have. They had to change the Carrier Freedom because they're all about strategic growth, outsized growth. They're big on that because that's what they need. They need the volume because they don't really have the margins, so they need the volume to make up for some of that. And then they need to sell into that volume tablets, tablet lines, watch lines, home internet. All of that plays a factor, and that's why they push ARPA, average price per account, and they don't push ARPU. They don't push average price per user because they need to sell into that volume, right? Because there's still free lines, there's still 20% insider discount. All that is still going around. But in order for them to continue to raise that service revenue forecast from the 4 to 5 and continue to keep going up, because usually T-Mobile has raise and beat quarters, they have to respond to the competition. And depending on how this is going to turn out, they might have to put out lead offers again, right? They might have to say $1,000 payoff, $1,000 no trade-in, right? Just some crazy stuff that they might have to do to jumpstart growth again. But Verizon and AT&T are now paying very close attention, and you can just tell by the behavior, right? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. So there's some other stuff that I want to discuss, but I'll leave that for another video. The Starlink situation was discussed during the conference. It's a very interesting one that we might have to just dive into further in a separate video. I still think that's just T-Mobile relying on that just too much, right? There's still too much of a gap today. And of course, they're going to fill that in with the Starlink coverage, because why not, right? If there's nothing there natively today, at least give the customer something. That's probably how they're going to look at it, just to give you guys a preview into the next video. But there's now a monthly service fee that's associated with that, and it's just, is it really worth it? Is it not, right? So we'll discuss that in another video, and what was said from Peter Oswaldig on the Starlink situation. So let me know your thoughts. Like, share, subscribe. See y'all in the next one. Peace.